Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. What's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for the last day of June in 2019. As always, you know the drill. Please don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell notifications. Oh, that's my thank you tab. Remove that. But don't forget to subscribe and also ring the bell notifications. And also look in the description for other videos of mine with superior weather content that you won't find anywhere else. And as your way of donating, please just watch the whole video. That actually helps my channel out very much. And also subscribe. So today we are going to be talking about Tropical Storm Barbara, or Barbara, whatever you want to call it. I just call it Barbara because it sounds better. Okay, so this is what it looks like on the National Hurricane Center. It actually has 45 mile/hour sustained winds. I don't know why this is from the 9 o'clock update on the National Hurricane Center. But yes, it has strengthened to have winds of 45 miles per hour now. It actually do believe it formed yesterday. Okay, so here it is on the current storm tab on Tropical Tidbits. And let's get right into it here. Okay, so you can see maximum winds of 40 knots, which is around 45 miles an hour, and gusts will be around 50, it's right between 55 and 60 miles an hour. So wind gusts are pretty strong with the storm system right now. When it was at Invest, it was producing tropical storm force winds. It just wasn't organized enough, which is why it wasn't forming before. But now it's gotten organized and it's officially been named Tropical Storm Barbara, or Barbara, whichever one you want to call it. I'm gonna call it Barbara. And we started to see like a kind of like a miniature little eye forming, but at tropical storm stage, don't even look for an eye. Okay, as long as you see, I could definitely see some clear signs of rotation. Okay, it's just no eye yet, but it's a tropical storm. That's what's expected of it. Okay, and you can see some very heavily convective activity right here on the latest satellite run that I've got for you guys. So some really heavy rains coming down on the GFS model, as well as on the MSLP loop. We're talking about reds and pinks and purples coming up. And that's not even radar, that's like a weak version of radar, so that's really got to be saying something. And here it is on the visible loop. When I show you the natural color and the water vapor loop, it'll look a little bit better. You can understand what the storm looks like. And you can see just these storms. It almost looks like a little bit of wind shear is coming from the north, but there's actually wind shear coming from the south right now. That's actually pushing into the storm, and I'll show you that once the next couple satellite loops I show you here. So this is the visible satellite. And you can see a lot of white cloud tops. It's just a big glob of clouds that is spinning, which is why it's gotten organized. It's now named Tropical Storm. Here is the natural color. Okay, so this will help you to kind of help you see what's going on. And it almost looks like we're seeing a little dry air. I do believe, is that dry? I do believe that is dry air. Starting to set up near the Mexican coastline. But like I said, it's not going to go towards the north. It's going to kind of like stay to the south. But here's what I'm talking about. See down here, so you see these clouds coming out of the south. And it's not part of the rotating thunderstorm, because you can just see this constant motion of winds coming from the south, kind of push it into that storm. So maybe some of the heavier rains might be pushed to the northeast side of the storm, which is typical for a tropical system. But the wind shear might kind of be a little bit of a obstacle, but I think it will overcome it. Here is this is the water vapor. You can see kind of have some dry air starting to come down, kind of like a trough with a little low up here in Mexico. But as you can see, we do have some really white in the whiter areas. That's where we have some heavier rains, and it almost looks like we're starting to get a little advancement of dry air from the northwest that I'm starting to see. So we'll see if that can interact with the storm system and maybe help to reduce its rainfall, and weaken it, but also to reduce the rainfall that's producing, make it more of a wind producer as opposed to a rain producer. And if you can see it, there's like this little U coming down from the north. That's the dry air. You see these gray and black areas here. So it's something to watch as it plows off towards the west at, so west-northwest at 16 miles an hour. So the storm's actually moving pretty fast for tropical standards. Latest sea surface temperatures. The storm is located around 10N and directly south of Cabo San Lucas. So I'd say it's somewhere around this area. 28 or 29 degrees Celsius. That's like the mid to upper 80s. It's actually not bad at all. When Alvin formed earlier, though, Alvin was a little bit farther north, so it kind of weakened faster. Let me actually go back to my black color so you guys can see it better. So here it is right now. This is where the storm is. This is Alvin kind of track towards the north, but this one's gonna kind of kick towards the south, go like this, and maybe or curve back to the west. So what I'm trying to say is it's gonna spend more time in sea surface temperatures that are 80 degrees Fahrenheit and above, and that's good news. Or actually, well, good news for the storm to strengthen, but it's not really bad because it's not gonna threaten any land at all. I'm not worried about any land threats with these few next tropical systems that are going to form. But look at the west side of the Baja. 18, 19 Celsius. That's chilly. I mean, even the ocean waters in New York and Connecticut are warmer than that. So that's really disappointing. But once the storm gets north of the 15N or the north of 17N latitude line, that's when you're going to start to, or even north of 20N, that's when you're going to start to see those unfavorable conditions due to dry air, wind shear, and of course lower sea surface temperatures. Okay, the anomalies, it's just back and forth between above average here, below average here, some above average here. Overall, actually over in the Atlantic, it's actually pretty warm right now. The Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean. But overall, I do think it's a little bit warmer than average, where Tropical Storm Barbara is right now. But there are a couple of cool spots that we need to look out for. Okay, so here is Tropical Storm Barbara on the GFS 6-hour average precip rate. So basically the MSLP. And let's actually track this out. And there will actually be another few storm systems that we'll have to be watching out for as well over the next few days. And one of them is actually right here. Let me actually go to the 5-day. Not in the Atlantic. Let's go to the Pacific. And here it is. 50% chance for yet another storm to form in the next 5 days. Another low pressure. It's just this tropical convergence zone. And these constant waves of moisture keep coming off of Central America, and we do have a steady east wind pushing these storms across the tropical convergence zone as well. So let's time this out. Watch as it quickly strengthens. This is around overnight Tuesday morning, and it's probably going to be like a big hurricane by then. Let's actually see by the MSLP and 10M wind. Let's actually see. It should be, yes, it should be a hurricane by this point, and it is. We're starting to see some that purple color, meaning resembling that hurricane. And then it tracks off towards the north and west, which you can see on the left side of your screen right here. Overall, it's a pretty small storm, so its impacts won't be too great. But you can see a high pressure off to the north, and that's going to kind of radiate down and kind of keep that, help that storm to move slower and then just kind of move off towards the west. And then we might have another tropical storm behind that, which is what I was showing you about 30 seconds ago on the National Hurricane Center website. Alright, so let's take a look at the steering patterns here, so I think this will help us understand it more. Alright, so here's the high pressure. The high pressure, the winds are going to steer like this. Okay, here's Tropical Storm Barbara right down here, what I'm circling right here. That's where Tropical Storm Barbara is. It's going to kind of get pushed by that northeasterly wind and kind of get pushed up towards the west. Okay, it's really far out, but it might go towards Hawaii. Okay, but as you can see, it's a very weak remnants by the time it even reaches Hawaii, and that's well over 200 hours out. So we'll see if it hits Hawaii, maybe bring a couple inches of remnant rainfalls or rainfall from its remnants, but I don't think it's going to be a big threat to Hawaii, if any threat at all. So here's the model track guidance from a bunch of different models. You can see going off towards the west-northwest and eventually northwest direction. Okay, these are a couple models just taking the storm too far north. I do agree with all the other models though. Okay, and you can see 984, it's going to kind of strengthen. Like I said, once it passes north of 15 or 20 N latitude, it's going to start to weaken more and more due to cooler waters. It's going to be the main threat, or the main factor to weaken the storm. Okay, that was the GEFS tracks. Here's the GEPS tracks. And you can see, again, here it is strengthening, and then once it passes north of that 15 or getting close to that 20 degree N latitude to the north, it's going to start to weaken into some potentially remnants. And you can see a lot of models steer towards the direction of Hawaii within the next 7 to 9 days. So we'll see how that goes. And you can see category 1, 2, or even 3 according to the model guidance. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to subscribe. I am The Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time.